Wow. A dream come true. Central Bank Auditorium. A red carpet. A local and international audience. Hollywood, here I am. Oh boy. Lucky, humble yourself now. You're in a blue suit, black shoes, and a red, white, and black tie with the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago, of which I'm proud, zoning people, the steel pan. If my friend Marina were here, she would say, Gillian, don't worry. Even though you are breaching all the fashion rules and the fashion police may not be sympathetic to you, that shows courage. And that's what you have to speak about. Time has already started, so let me get going. What makes us courageous? Are courageous people born? In other words, are they naturals? Some people just have it. Or is it that there is something in all of us that speaks to courage, and we just have to find that situation or circumstance that will bring out the courageous person in us? I may not have the correct answer, but I believe that we are all put in a particular place for a particular reason. We are here in Trinidad and Tobago. Technology allows us to express ourselves to the rest of the world. We have to be courageous people. We have to be first and foremost Trinidad and Tobago. And that is what it is about. So from a very young age, I asked myself, Gillian, what do you want to be? And without thinking of a career initially, I knew the characteristics that I wanted to display. And yes, I don't hide the fact I wanted to be courageous. My superheroes were the real superheroes. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Okay, young people, I know you have your Wolverine and your X-Men and maybe X-Woman and whatever else. In my days, there was one vampire. Today, there are vampires all over the Hollywood screens. I know I couldn't look like Wonder Woman and Mighty Isis, and I decided I wanted to be courageous. Why? Because I never intended, I do not intend, and I will never leave my country, Trinidad and Tobago. That's what I have to fix. So my favorite superhero, some people laugh, is the Hulk. Why? Because to me, poor guy, he's most human. When he's doing his best work, he doesn't remember. And he has to be courageous because he's not really sure if he'll end with his pants on. And then I said, you know what? What is the career I think that God wants? And I make no apology to anybody in this audience and the international audience. I thank God, not only for the talents he has given all of us, but for all of those who have been our mentors. Any courageous person will tell you that they have not done it alone. You need mentors along the way. And I take the opportunity to thank all those persons who have helped me to be the courageous person I am. And let me tell you right now, on the radar and on the charts, I don't consider myself to be very high up when it comes to courage. I know that there are hundreds of thousands of people who are more courageous than me, and I accept that. But I put myself in circumstances to bring out the best in me. And I have to admit to you all, it doesn't really help when you carry the last name Lucky. Because even if you say a bad experience, so Jill, how things going? Well, I have so much money. Well, at least you're lucky. Jill, why are you looking down? Well, I'm still looking for a job. Well, at least you're lucky. And everybody just presumes that the last name Lucky means things are always going good for me. So I decided, you know what? I wanted a career in law. And I say quite openly to you this afternoon, law is my love, politics the passion. And why? Because if you want to create positive change, and if you really want to put God and country first, you have to be prepared to sacrifice, to be courageous, and to remember two things about courage. Courage is when, to me, you are prepared to do that which is right at all costs. In other words, courage means that if you enter a arenas like politics and you are prepared to set the highest standards, you have to be courageous. And there's a second aspect of courage. You could do a very courageous thing, but talk to many courageous people and they'll tell you it's the aftermath that really calls for more courage. That when you face the fall, my friend Werner, that is when you need all the courage you could get. So I love the law, and I am saying I have my parents are my mentors. My father and mother stand for the highest standards, and I'm not saying we are perfect. They preach integrity. So one day when I was complaining and saying, I wish I was a superhero, a friend said, Gillian, you're not any superhero, but you know what you are? You are a genetically, ethically enhanced mutant. Now that was meant to be a compliment. I am still trying to work out what it meant. And I said, when I was doing law, I wanted to be a prosecutor. I wanted to work with the state. There are not many young people. I lecture at the Hewarding Law School. And I'm very disappointed when I ask how many of you from the various Caribbean territories are going back to your countries to work with the state. And you see your hand go like this. You see another one go up like that. And I say, but aren't you prepared to give back to country? When you work with the state, you are not going to be driving luxury vehicles. And when you are a prosecutor in the DPP's department, your success rate is not going to be based on the number of cases that you win. And why? Because your job is to be a minister of justice. You are not there to persecute. And there's a presumption of innocence. And I can tell you, it is really better to let 10 guilty men walk free than one innocent man be wrongly convicted. And you have to make sure at all times you are that minister of justice. So when people say, Gillian, were you a successful prosecutor? And they try to make the barometer for success the number of cases that I won, I say you're on the wrong track. Because when you prosecute, if you get a conviction, understand that justice has been served if the person was found guilty based on the evidence. But remember, there would always have been loss. So how could you go and celebrate even if you get a conviction of murder or conviction of rape? And as a prosecutor, I not only had to preach courage, I had to learn courage. When I prosecuted for persons who had been charged with sexual offenses, for 6 months straight, I was in the High Court and dealing with women and explaining to them the need to come forward and give evidence. Many of them saying, but what if I don't get a guilty verdict? I said, at the end of the day, you have to do what is right. And I could tell you, in some cases, I put my best foot forward, and jurors came back with not guilty. I hope some of them are not serving today as jurors again, just say that as an aside. But the fact is, I'm talking about where you had compelling and cogent evidence. That's what I'm talking about. And then to have the courage now to deal with where you feel there was injustice and say at the end of the day, there's something called divine justice. And what we don't get here on earth, God is going to make sure, whatever you call him, he's going to make sure, let him be the judge at the end of the day. So that was life in the DPP. Mentors like Mark and Deborah, because I keep saying, you have to have mentors along the way. So my parents, my siblings, Cindy Ann, Elizabeth, Antonio, always there for me. And while I was in the DPP department, I also wanted to get involved in Trinidad and Tobago, because they say you must earn your stripes and you must pay your dues. If you remember nothing else that I have shared with you all this afternoon, remember the acronym PAID. TEDx, you do not have to be worried. It is my acronym. What I'm about to say is mine, and you can have the copyright. I expect no royalties. P, participate. A, activate. I, initiate or innovate. And D, you will become part of the directorate. So you remember PAID, participate, activate, innovate, and you'll become part of the directorate. And I wanted to participate, and guess what? East Indian culture. As what? A DJ. Playing what kind of music, Gillian? Bollywood music. And my friend Wendy and I go in every Saturday to the station on Disco Dunia. I can't speak a word of Hindi, but I know Dunia means world, Disco Dunia, world of disco. Young people, you all call it now clubs. In our days, they were discos. And Wendy and I, it was called Disco Dunia and then Garam Geet. And I had a name, I'm still prosecuting, you know. but I'm making good money on the weekend too. State attorneys are not paid what they should be paid. I was still living at home. Take a survey. You have to be courageous when you're a state attorney, you know, because you're living at home. And my parents' rule, as long as you're living home, they remain mother and father. And when you move out, they remain more so mother and father because they're not senior enough. And I was DJ Jill, one in a mill, putting pep in your step and grooving your move a cow wine like what the girl did before. And my parents had to be courageous because they were meeting people who were saying, hi, Anthony and Sintra, how is DJ Jill? And mommy would be like, DJ Jill is fine, always saying, Gillian, whatever you do, integrity, honesty, transparency, accountability. We will support you in whatever you do. The day you choose something and you cannot do that, it's out time. So I was DJ Jill until problems in the courtroom. Lawyers want requests on a Saturday. The accused looking at me like, oh God, well, play a little something. Jurors watching me as though, well, when will be the correct time to ask you to send that request? And then when I went home, my mother and father said, okay, Gillian, enough of DJ Jill. And it was in around the year 2000, a happy prosecuting. We did what was considered a high-profile matter in the matter of Dolce and others. And then I realized I wanted to give more. I wanted to be more courageous. I wanted to really test myself, put me in circumstances to test. Enter the world of who and what politics. And what Gillian Lucky wanted to do, set highest ethical standards. Integrity must come first. Well, it came first. Politics going on, and I out of the political arena. And again, just to tell you quickly, all you young people who are here and who are listening, you want to be the youngest, you want to be the best, you want to be able to say at such and such an age you're the youngest. Well, at age 25, I was asked by the then opposition leader to become a senator. And according to the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, you have to be at least 25 years. And I would have just turned 25. I was very happy. Daddy was happy. I got my sisters to agree because they had to go with me to present the case to mommy. When I reached home, I already called friends, hey, I'm going to be a senator, blah, blah, blah. Went to my mother, mommy, good news. What is the good news, Gillian? I'm going to be a senator, the youngest ever, Trinidad and Tobago, again, my dream politics. Really? Yeah, well, I told everybody, and you know, we're going out tonight, Zoom's Great Wall. And if you're from South, you know that's where we all go to celebrate, right? And her mother then said, she said, no, Gillian, you're not ready yet. Well, I felt like Luke Skywalker when Yoda tell him, ready you are not. Because he wanted to go and fight Darth Vader because he figured he could do 1 or 2 Jedi tricks and he ready. Well, Lucky was ready to are courageous. And my mother said, give to your country, build up your character, prove yourself, because the day will come when you will be tested. I thought she looked at Star Wars, because that to me is what Yoda was telling Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi and all of them. But anyway, parents always know best. And when they don't know best, you have to forgive them because they're not perfect. And when I was tested in the political arena, when I was asked to make a finding against the evidence, my parents' words just were in my mind. Gillian, do what is right. And the day you have to compromise integrity, that's the day you leave politics. And in 2005, my very good friend, Dr. Fuad Khan, and I said, Fuad, I have to go to the back seat. He said, Gillian, I will go with you because you will not be able to be alone. You're courageous, but you need somebody next to you. And Dr. Fuad Khan and I went, and we sat in the back seat. And people said, Gillian, this is the end of your political career. The next election is 2007. Enjoy yourself for 2.5 years because you're gone through. And I remember saying very bravely, I'm hot in there. Remember, politics is my passion. My passion will be going soon. And I said to them, I said, yes, I'll be going to the political cemetery. But I hope those who are in the political landscape could handle my ghost, because my ghost is going to be around forever. And then, during the time when I was on the backbench, there was Caribbean Terang. I promote local content. And I said to them, look, I can't go in front of the screen because it really makes you put on weight, 20 pounds, and you know, I on the chubby side, not at a shame, but still. All of a sudden, we didn't have money to pay for presenters, so guess who had to go and present Caribbean Terang? When I told them, let's use opening music, they told me straight, the only opening music we could use would be, let's create something local, stop taking something from somewhere else, which we did. And that is another way where you have to be courageous, because here was Gillian Lucky, who if you just hear my name, you wouldn't know what to say I am. I am of mixed heritage and very proud of it. And that's why I keep saying in Trinidad and Tobago, we need a Trinidad and Tobago Day. We have to stop thinking along lines of just one race or two. We have Chinese, we have Lebanese, we have people from Syria, we have people still coming, we have people going, Trinidad and Tobago, people arriving. And Lucky courageous, and I said it. And I want to tell you about courage too. Because in 2007, I'm still on the high, remember, a general election, running for a party that it will turn out will win no seats. And I am running, no, I'm not ashamed of that. I ain't ashamed of that. I believed in the new politics. I was preaching it since I was in secondary school in Naparima. And I remember a friend of mine, my dearest friend Suzanne, telling me, she and everybody say, you go win the seat. She called me aside. She said, come here. She said, I do the statistics. I have good news and bad news. Which one you want first? I said, well, the bad news. The bad news is you will come last. She didn't say third, she said last. 3 of us. And I just want you to know because don't be fooled. I said, well, what's the good news? Because by now I'm devastated. I'm courageous telling everybody, the next member for such and such a seat. She said, the good news is you would have proven a point that you could stand for principle. You're going to be courageous, and don't worry, you wouldn't have to lose your deposit. So I said, your good news is I'm not losing my deposit. She said, yes, so there's no financial problem there. So said, so done. Suzanne remains a political pundit. The point I'm trying to make is you need people around you. What do I do? What I do is this. To be courageous, people don't mind you being in the front line, but you need people around you. And that is why I've said people like Fuad Khan, Suzanne, Wendy, David, Mark, Deborah, my parents, friends who I have met. And when you're going into arenas and you want to be courageous, always have people who will guide you. And that's what I will end on. I love Calypso. I am not saying I am the best Calypsonian. I just find that that is something natural and is ours. Claim it. You know, in Trinidad and Tobago, we don't like to claim what is ours. We wait till people thief it, and then we say, that's ours, you're a thief. I believe in claiming. And my dream, only taking up my time, and I know there's no injury time. So I am my final moments here. And I want you to go and sing in the big yard, the Mashgra. Well, that's very competitive, but I still wanted the experience. So what I did is I got an opportunity to sing at the Jean Pay Complex, which holds 20,000 people that night in the political commentary. And the song I sang, incidentally, was I Afraid Them. That was the name of it. So I didn't just change the name for today, I Afraid Them. And who do you think I went and asked for help? None other than my favorite Calypsonian. There are many favorites, but he's like my number one because he's the people's Calypsonian, the Black Stallion. And this is my last 2 minutes now. The Black Stallion, I went to him, I said, Dr. Mr. Stallion, teach me the correct way to do this thing. He said, okay, sing a verse. So I say, and when I'm making up, I think of you know, how you just come on the stage, and then he said, well, sing the verse. I say, okay, it's called I Afraid Them. I don't care what they say, this is my country. And I am so loud. I very point say, hold on. He said, why you? I said, but I'm singing like you know, like how you just come on the stage. He said, no, let me tell you how I would sing it. He said, I would sing it like this. I don't care what they say, this is my country. And this land that I love must come first. No one could tell me PNM, COP, or UNC. Don't get uptight, don't speak out right unrehearsed. He said, you see, you get the difference? You want to jump about and vex up with the people. He said, engage them. Well, you know, Lucky follow him. Thank God, because for the chorus, I was going, because they want us to run and they want us to hide and get scared every time that they see. Man, that night, I'd be dead. I'd be dead by the 5th verse. So I was like, they kidnapping us, and when we making fuss, it's them that walking free. I don't care who get vexed, cause it's me or you next, and I'm singing it openly. You know the man causing the problem for us in TNT. I afraid them. And to Black Stallion, I say, thank you very much for the advice, because I really want to be able to make it. So as I end, I say, thank you for the opportunity. Be courageous, be brave, be true, because that is what your country demands and needs of you. I thank you. May God bless us all.